Everyone, so we are live, so welcome back. So we made it to week 13 in the semester, so hopefully it's a lucky 13. That means there's only 3 weeks left, technically, for the semester, so we're in the home stretch. So with MISA, this is, as you know, if this is your first time for MISA, welcome. We appreciate you coming. So we have alternate sessions that we do each week. So 1 week we do a general meeting, and then another week we do a company information session. So last week we had our game night, which was pretty fun. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning for the in-person group, but we got it to work. So at least it was pretty fun doing the Scriblio. But tonight we have our company information session, and it's actually our last company information session for the semester. So I know, sad tear for everybody that MISA's coming to an end for the semester, but it should be exciting that if you weren't in any of our other sessions, or if you're like, hey, I missed a bunch of them and I want to just get the last one in, you tuned in for a perfect one to come in. So the company that we have tonight, we've worked a lot with MISA even before I came in as program director. Our former program director worked with Rocket Matter even before that point. So really great company. We've had a lot of students that have started there at entry-level roles and worked their way up to more senior positions. We've had students that have had a lot of experience and gone in there and went into more of the developer side, the QA positions that they have. We've had plenty that have come into support roles and such, but really great company, really good culture. One of those few where the CEO of the company is actually somebody that you can approach and talk to. So he's not up in this ivory tower where nobody can, talk to him or get a hold of him. And the great thing is their company headquarters is right down the street here in Boca. So right there on Yamato and Federal in the greenhouse building. And it's a pretty cool, I described the greenhouse building as like one of these hotels type things that you'd have in Disney, where they have this this sort of pond and really like Zen atmosphere in the actual inside of the building, which is pretty cool. I've yet to see another office other than like a hotel that has that kind of experience. So really cool. So without any further ado, I don't want to steal all the thunder. Can we give a nice warm virtual and in-person round of applause for Kim from Rocket Matter?
Thanks, guys. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm super excited to talk with you all. I mean, I feel like it's been forever. Years ago, we used to, I remember, having happy hours with the MISA organizations, and, and Larry coming along and bringing some support people. And it just feels like it's been so long since we've been able to like really connect. So I'm happy to come and talk with you all today. And I hope that I can give you some meaningful insight. That's my goal. So I did prepare like a little bit of a slideshow just to help me so that I don't lose my train of thought, because I tend to, go everywhere and cast a wide net. But I just wanted to kind of start from the top. So Rocket Matter is a software company, and that's the name of our software. We have an iPad app, an Android app, an iPhone app, and you can access us anywhere that you're using a major browser. So it is a full application that lives and breathes in the cloud. We founded the company back in 2008. The really super cool part about the journey is that Larry was an absolute pioneer. And I mean, Larry Port, our founder. No one in the United States, and I could definitely say the United States, I'm pretty sure, it goes beyond that, but had ever created an entirely cloud-based practice management system. So, there were a lot of people out there that thought that we were the crazy bunch who thought we could, really disrupt the sector. And it took a little while, but we definitely did. And I'll show you a little bit the application later so that you can kind of get a sense for what kinds of problems that we solve with what we build and support and sell every day. What's important to know is that all of our servers are housed inside the United States, and that's because we serve law firms. We probably could be used in accounting firms and all other different kinds of companies that require project management. But way back in the beginning, that's where our founder saw the need, was in the legal practice, where you can kind of visualize what a law firm used to look like 10 years ago and what many law firms still look like today, where there are large file rooms and, people are hired full time to open mail and sort and file them in file folders and deliver them to the people who need those letters and scan them. And so there's a purpose that we have, and that was to really help attorneys find ease in being mobile and focus on practicing law instead of stressing about staying organized. And, we feel really proud of that when we're able to see an attorney get some relief for themselves of about maybe 10 hours a month, maybe 20 hours a month, and get them out of the office. They're able to be more accessible to their clients, the people who need them the most. So that's our goal here. Now, what I do is I oversee customer support. I am the first employee of the company, so I've been around for a really long time, and I'm really blessed to have been able to be a part of the entirety of this journey. When I came on board, I had a background in large communications companies and third-party outsourcing companies, but I also worked at a law firm for about 5 years when I was in my 20s. So when I had that experience, and I just kind of came on board temporarily because Larry was a friend of a friend, and I said, I'll come for 2 to 3 weeks and let's see if we can just kind of build out a process for an intern to come and help book appointments and show people the software. And when I learned about what the purpose was of the company, and I felt like what he was doing was just amazing, I never left. So, so here I am still 14 years later. And in the beginning, I used to do demonstrations. I wasn't really a salesperson. I think what's important about that is, especially when you're starting a company, is you're not really a salesperson or a marketing person. Your goal is to be helpful and to provide something that is meaningful to people that make their lives a little bit easier. So I would give demonstrations. I would set people up. I would take their calls if they had a question or got an error message. And then as we grew and we actually had those departments in the company, that's when I had to find my home. And I found that overseeing the support team. And the support team takes inbound emails and phone calls and chats from our users day to day. Now, we're going to go through some more of the company structure, and I'll show you a little bit about the product and what it looks like. And we'll do the Q&A time as well. But as your Professor Sweet mentioned, we have had so many students come into Rocket Matter and start out at an entry level or an intern level, and have created their own stories from there, which are pretty cool. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite stories is a young man. His name was Chris Hoffman, and he was majoring in economics, but he was also a part of the MISA organization. And he came into our support fold. He was still going to school, and we were able to slice and dice data and really get involved and say, okay, what are the best metrics for this company? Because it was in the very beginning of Rocket Matter. What are the best metrics that we can use to make sure we're measuring success well, and that we're measuring customer happiness, and that we can really define it with a data point, because we are heavily data driven. And we had a wonderful time, and we had many, many exercises until we were able to come up with the metrics, but these are metrics that we still use today. He went on to move back to Maine, and he, is around his family, but he's an analyst at TD Bank now. So we have kind of a career tree from Rocket Matter, where you come in, you start in the support fold, you're helping customers solve problems. And then, where you go, it depends on where you find your niche. You're going to find something that you like a little bit more about your job aspects than another piece of it. Like you might maybe gravitate more towards the technical side and digging into bugs and trying to reproduce issues and solve problems and look into how to, develop SQL code. Or you might just want to do the training aspect of it. But there are so many departments that our support people move up into. Pretty much every department in the company, even sales, they came from support. And I think that is so critical to making sure that we continue to provide meaningful solutions across all the departments and kind of keep rowing in the same direction. You guys all know what the cloud is, but it's super important for you to know that because we service law firms, they understand what the cloud is, but nobody really knows what the mechanics are behind that. And it's important for them as lawyers because they have to protect their clients. And it's our business model to make sure that that's happening and that their database is secure and that they understand, just kind of like electricity, you know, that if you plug, your plug into the wall, you're going to get juice there. But you have to kind of know the inner workings of the cloud and like where these things come from and where data is stored and how to access it and what to happen in case of emergencies. Because they have ethical responsibilities, they need to do a lot of research on each of their providers. And, fortunately, most of the providers in the space these days are very responsible. They know what they're getting into. And we haven't seen any major like data leaks or outages in the entire time that I've worked in this sector. So that's a wonderful thing. We must use secure socket layer encryption. All of our users, all of our employees in the firm or in the company even, we cannot have data connect. We can't go to like Starbucks and be hooking up to, their local Wi-Fi and start doing screen shares with a law firm to see what's in their account. We have to really, really look at security and keep that at the forefront of everything that we do because of the data that we're managing and handling and helping our customers with every day. Secure socket layer encryption is how we do that. And basically it's like a tunnel of, zeros and ones and very confusing things that can keep anything else from accessing that tunnel. And that's how we use like military grade encryption to store documents and for communication. So when someone is able to log into Rocket Matter, as soon as they log in, we offer them that kind of security. And that's kind of our business model. We also offer it to their clients. When their clients use a portal, they log in and they're able to, feel safe and secure transmitting data and communications inside the database. So our purpose, why is case management software important? How do we make lawyers' lives easier? It sounds simple, but in the past, law firms would be using Microsoft Office for their email, and then they use Word for documents. They might use Microsoft Excel to track their billings, and then QuickBooks maybe to run an invoice. But they would have these kind of scattered mechanisms of doing things, and it was creating a lot of busy work. So we created an application where they can have everything stored in the same place. So Rocket Matter does what you can picture any law firm needing day to day, such as calendaring and capturing their billable time and making sure their new clients and contacts get in there, task management, communicating with other users in the firms about matters, their cases that they need to do work on, generating invoices, and even getting payments. We have our own payment processing company that has an engine behind the invoicing features, and we collect payments from the clients of our law firms, and the payments go into the bank accounts they're supposed to. They get logged in ledgers, which saves their accountants a lot of time and their legal bookkeepers a lot of time. And it's all in one place. We keep all the data in one place. Now I know what you guys are all majoring in. You're looking to, I hope that the picture of everybody is not like here where you guys can see it, but what's important is you guys sound like, you're super data driven. And every time I've ever read resumes to help MISA graduates see where their next steps should be, I think my biggest question was always like, okay, well, why are you going to be mining data? We have to look at the purpose behind the data that we're trying to gather and make it like human and meaningful. We're trying to help companies look at data so that they can create meaningful, repeatable processes so that they can kind of turn off the overthinking switch in their minds and put themselves on autopilot so that their processes are just happening in their law firms day to day. And we can only get to that by looking at the data and seeing, okay, well, let's say you're a DUI attorney and you're taking cases and you just want to charge one flat rate. Well, how do you really know what flat rate to charge without going into the negative, not making enough money, or going into a place where now you're not really quoting like a competitive figure and nobody wants to use you. So you've got to look at the work that you're putting in to your cases, and you've got to really track it and then take a look at it and see, well, what makes sense for you to charge your cases so that you don't have to, for the rest of your life, track every little 5 minutes that you're spending. You find a solid number and this becomes your flat rate. And now you know that as long as you're staying in your parameters, you'll be profitable. So, and that's just one of the purposes of creating reports and allowing them to help you lean on them so that you can create standard repeatable processes and feel confident that you're going to be profitable in any business, really, but in our case, law firms. In our practice, we're kind of fortunate to be software people and knowing that we can offer software structure to law firms that are so new to this. I don't know if you've ever heard of Kanban, but it's a term that software architects use, it's a process of doing product development and having your tasks kind of like in swim lanes, which I'll show you in a little bit. But we offer this type of project management in our application that really helps organize data and let lawyers slice and dice it any way that they want to see it. And I think the most important point is in our business, we have to have someone kind of hold their hand for a little bit and explain how to use these types of features and where to drag and drop things, how to group things, and how to start to create that. But we give them all of this functionality at their fingertips so that they can start to find answers for all of their questions about how to run their law firm like a business, and get it on autopilot so that they can focus on becoming a better attorney every day and know that on the back end that the interoffice wheel is turning without them needing to be there all the time. So some of the features that we offer: business intelligence, matter templates. We are big believers in automation. I don't know if you've ever read the book, the creator of Kanban wrote, when it comes to like lean, we are big lean manufacturing mentality people. So anything that's repetitive, we want to create automation for. And there are definitely many things that we do day to day that we don't need to constantly, be typing out. So we create engines in the back end of Rocket Matter that help law firms you just eliminate repetitive tasks and look at their Kanban boards to kind of identify, like here, you can see where there's a bottleneck. If you've got a case that's in a certain status for too many days, maybe you're short some people in that certain department, or you need to strengthen your processes. But these are just high level ways to be able to get a look at things that you have and make sure that they keep moving. Batch billing helps you so that you can just grab certain blocks of cases and get invoices out quickly. And document templates are a huge time saver because it takes a little time to like set up your Word template, but then once it's in your library, it's pulling in your customer data and it's populating documents for you so that it can save you tons of time. And that is pretty much it for the product. But I've got our screen open here. And I also did want to talk with you guys a little bit about, our openings, because the company has gone through some changes And it's pretty exciting. I think about 2 years ago, we started to merge with 2 other competitors that are large, that are also large practice management solution companies. And I didn't want you to keep going over to like our own job and career listings page, because you're not going to find as much as you're going to find at our parent company level now. So I'll share this with you, Jonathan, also afterwards, because like there are multiple companies in different areas, some of which are remote, and they all offer opportunities. So it'll be a good like link to have in your back pocket, just to see if there's anything that interests you. Now, when it comes to like an internship, oftentimes you're not going to find internships unless you just, keep in touch and see if you can find an opportunity. They're not really widely available all the time, but take a chance on a support position, because we're still operating as a small company. And when we are operating that way, you have first access to the product team. We're all meeting with the engineering teams month to month. We're all talking about where the company is going, where the product and features are going. You have access to, the Jira dashboards where you can see what our engineers are working on. And because it's still run as a small company, it helps kind of give you the perspective on how a software organization is run. So it's really good experience. But yeah, I'm here to answer any questions. I don't know if that was helpful at all.
That was great. And it's funny because we've had Larry do it so many times, and he never uses any slides. And so it's always a funny thing when students are trying to follow with him, because they have to just go off of what he's saying. So it was helpful to have the slides, because there was a lot more content that was there that he would
Oh,
talk about. And so it was nice to actually see, at least on mine, because
I'll send them to you.
I've probably heard the presentation more than anyone else, but this was
But
the best.
Larry's funny though.
Yeah.
Larry's funny. He does yo-yo tricks, and he's fun. I don't do yo-yo. Like I'm like trainer mentality. So I just want people to know what we do. And
No, it was great, because I think it gave a really good, for a lot of students that are new to me, so that haven't heard Larry in the past, that don't know about Rocket Matter. I thought it was very well explained, and the visuals and the explanation of the cloud and all that piece was really good. So awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, so what we can do is I'll go ahead and stop the recording, and then we can open it up for Q&A.